My brothers and sisters, وَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدِ, we are in the mid of the month of Shawwal, which is the month that have preceded the month of Ramadan. And وَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدُ وَالْمِنَّةِ, we were alive throughout the month of Ramadan, and we were able to engage in ibadat that have prompted us to come closer to Allah, that have gave us the chance to taste the sweetness of the Iman, that have led us to see how it feels to be with Allah Azza wa Jal. And at the same time, the month of Ramadan and the beginning of the month of Shawwal was also a month in which the Muslim Ummah have tasted a sweetness that have missed for a long time. That is the sweetness of integrity, the izzah, the karama, the sweetness of people of integrity living with Allah Azza wa Jal. And as I have mentioned throughout the month of Ramadan, we need to let the ibadah throughout the month of Ramadan to be the threshold for our ibadah after the month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah. We worked hard throughout the month of Ramadan. We need not to be like التي نقضت غزلها من بعد قوة أنكاثا. We need not to be like what Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in the Quran about a lady in Mecca. She breaks what you have worked on for a long time. كالتي نقضت غزلها من بعد قوة أنكاثا. After she constructs the fabric strongly, then she take it apart and start all over again. This is not what Ramadan is all about. Ramadan is about establishing a lifestyle, about getting to know Allah Azza wa Jal, about feeling differently than the other days of the year and move on afterwards for a better and higher communication and connection with Allah Azza wa Jal. من عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة. The Mighty said in the Quran that من عمل صالحا, whoever did righteous, من ذكر أو أنثى, both male or female, but the condition here is وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة. We shall make them be able to live a حياة طيبة. And this beautiful word, حياة طيبة, captured my attention. And I came across different tafsir to the meaning of this حياة طيبة. Ibn Abbas indicated that الحياة الطيبة الرزق الحلال الطيب. The provision, the halal provision, the beautiful halal provision. And Ali radiallahu anhu indicated that الحياة الطيبة is القناة, satisfaction that will be in the heart. And that's why throughout the month of Ramadan, we have been supplicating to Allah, Allahumma ij'al al-akhirata hammana, Allahumma wakfina hamma hadhihi ad-dunya wa ahlaha biqudratika ya rabb as-samawati wal ard. Allahumma ij'al al-akhirata hammana. Make our aim, our attention, what concerns us, ya Rabbi, what yuhimmuna is al-akhirah, is what is waiting for us after we leave this dunya, is meeting you, ya Rabb, is what will be for us in the hereafter. And Al-Hasan wa Mujahid wa Qutada said لا يطيب لأحد حياة إلا في الجنة. Allahu Akbar. What a beautiful meaning. لا يطيب لأحد حياة. No beautiful life. No one will be able to enjoy a beautiful life, حياة طيبة, except in the Jannah. Ya Allah, may Allah make us from the people of Al-Jannah. Meaning to say that the رحينا حياة طيبة will be inshallah in Al-Jannah. فيها ما لا عين رأت ولا أذن سمعت ولا خطر على قلب بشر. This is what is the final abode of the mu'min. نسأل الله عز وجل أن يجعلنا منكم فإنه على كل شيء قدير. And الضحاك also indicated two meanings of حياة طيبة when he said الرزق الحلال, the halal provision, and he added العبادة في الدنيا. It is the ibadah in the dunya. إن في الدنيا لجنة. There is a jannah in the dunya. Whoever does not enter it will not be able to make it to the Jannah of the Akhirah. This Jannah is the Jannah of being with Allah. This Jannah is being in total submission and khushu' with the mighty Allah Azza wa Jal. If you do not get the chance to taste the sweetness of the Jannah in the dunya, in your ibadah with Allah Azza wa Jal, chances you will not be able to make it to the Jannah of the Akhirah. And he added on the top of that beautiful meaning, al-amalu bil-ta'a, to do the ta'a, to strive in the ta'a to Allah Azza wa Jal, wal-inshirahu biha, Allahu Akbar, to do the good, to do the ta'a. And on the top of that, you feel the expansion of your chest as a result of doing the ta'a. Allahu Akbar to this beautiful meaning to say that one of the ways that can expand our chest, one of the ways that can relieve our ugliness in this dunya, one of the ways that can help us cope with the difficulties and challenges of the dunya, one of the ways that can help us cope to what is happening to the Muslim Ummah in general from all over the world is knowing that when we are with Allah, Allah is with us. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين. Seek refuge by Allah through patience and salah, as Allah is with the sabirin. We greet and congratulate the people who have stood up for Masjid al-Aqsa, because they have taught us and showed us how to be with Allah. They have taught us how to be in the dunya, yet your heart is with the akhirah. When we see the mothers of the martyrs saying in front of the TV cameras, I am excited and happy, not because I don't like my son who have gone to Allah Azza wa Jal as a shaheed, but because I know that what is waiting for my son and what is waiting for me is far beyond anything else of this dunya. Therefore, halawat al-iman, the sweetness of the iman, have made me forgetting the sorrow and the pain of the tragedy of losing my kids. Allah. This is exactly what we need to be mindful about as we have departed the month of Ramadan, and as we're perceiving another year of ibadat to Allah Azza wa Jal. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who believe, irka'u wasjudu wa'budu Allah and waf'alu khayra la'allakum tuflihun. Engage in salah, ruku', sujood, and do the good, la'allakum, so you may be able to achieve the falah, the success in the dunya as well as in the akhirah. For the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salam, your father, Abikum Ibrahim, we're proud, we're so excited that Allah Azza wa Jal had called us the children of Ibrahim alayhi salam. هو سماكم المسلمين من قبل, as He have called you Muslims from before. وفي هذا ليكون الرسول شهيدا عليكم وتكونوا شهداء على الناس. Therefore, أقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة. Establish the salah and give the charity. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِاللَّهِ, and hold tight with the robe of Allah Azza wa Jal. And then after that, in the following chapter, immediately after Surah Al-Hajj, comes the beautiful chapter that is titled Al-Mu'minun. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Allahu Akbar. The mighty is calling upon you and saying, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ. Indeed, the mu'minun have achieved the success. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ المؤمنون, those who are believers. Who are they, Allah? الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون. نسأل الله عز وجل أن يزرع الخشوع في قلوبنا بالصلاة فإنه على كل شيء. The Surah Al-Hajj concluded by أقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة, and the first chapter after that starts by encouraging us to be from the musallin, but not any musalli. الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون, those who are submissive in their salah to Allah Azza wa Jal, those who are mindful that they're going to meet Allah Azza wa Jal, وأنهم إليه راجعون, those who have felt the companionship of Allah Azza wa Jal in salah as a result of engaging with Allah Azza wa Jal in their ibadat. الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون. Again, Allah Azza wa Jal wants you not only to be a passive person in the corner of the masjid worshiping Allah Azza wa Jal and ignoring the rest of the world around you, but rather you are a person who is engaged in ibadat. Yet remember that there is a responsibility upon you to establish life on earth, and as a part of this to accumulate the wealth and to earn the money to spend it in the cause of Allah Azza wa Jal. As Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned في كتب أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه يسبح له فيها بالغدو والآصال رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة. As Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned that these are rijal, men who have established the salah and give the charity. And we know that as zakat is not applicable unless you have a surplus of your saving money. So that means you need to roll your sleeves up and work hard in your ibadah as well as in establishing life on earth, so that you're able to spend in the cause of Allah Azza wa Jal, so that you're able to give in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal. May Allah Azza wa Jal alleviate the suffering of all Muslims over the world and all the humanity that is living in this planet that is called the earth. Allahumma. أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون. They abstain from the vain talk. Life is very short. Do not waste it by vain talk. Do not waste it by excessive socializing that is unnecessary in your life. Rather, let your life be busy in the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal. Brother, let this dunya be the mazra'a for your akhirah, the farmer of your akhirah. Do not waste your hasanat by backbiting and by talking about people behind their back, so that they will accumulate all your hasanat and they will dump on you their sayyat in the hereafter when you meet Allah Azza wa Jal as a result of what you have done to them in this dunya, talking behind their back. الذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون. Complete package of ibadat that will prompt you to be from the mu'mineen. Yes, you are engaging in your salah, abstaining from the vain talk, giving your charity and protecting your private parts, because this is part of your identity as a Muslim. الذين هم لأماناتهم وعهدهم راعون. Those are guarding and protected to their trusts and amanat. And the ayat concluded والذين هم على صلواتهم يحافظون. Those who are protective to their salawat أولئك هم الوارثون الذين يرثون الفردوس هم فيها خالدون. نسأل الله عز وجل أن يجعلنا من الفردوس الأعلى من الجنة فإنه على كل شيء قدير. يا رب، يا رب، من كرمك وجودك يا رب، من رحمتك يا رب، من فضلك يا رب، لا بعملنا يا رب. اجعلنا من الوارثين الفردوس الأعلى من الجنة يا رب العالمين. والذين هم على صلواتهم يحافظون. Allah started with salah and concluded with salah. Salah needs to be done. Salah needs to be done about the time of the adhan being called. And this is a call from myself, for my brothers and sisters, to the families, to the Muslim families who are living in the West, especially because of the fact that we do not have masajid that can call the adhan and remind us when the time for salah is come. It is a reminder for us to utilize the technology so that the adhan is called in our homes. Let's not waste our precious time of the night in front of the screens, whether it is the gadgets that we play with, whether it is the TV we watch. Wallahi, it is a big waste. Wallahi, it is hasratan wa nadama. Let's not waste our life and the precious life of our children watching TV and playing with gadgets, because this is exactly the big khusran. This is the big khusran. It's the responsibility of us as parents to make sure that they are able to make it to bed early, so that they are able not only to wake up for Salat al-Fajr, which is a forgotten Salah and Ibadah to the Muslim Ummah, unfortunately. Ya Allah, how are we expecting ourselves to get the victory of Allah? How are we expecting ourselves to get the rahmah of Allah? How are we expecting ourselves to be saved from the hellfire? How are we hoping for the Jannah if Salat al-Fajr is not a regular habit for us? The Prophet was asked about the person who get up for Salat al-Fajr. He said, ذَلِكَ رَجُلٌ بَالَ الشَّيْطَانُ فِي أُذْنَيْهِ. The person who gets up for Salat al-Fajr is the person who is the shaitan urinated in his ears. Ya Allah. Ya Allah rahmatika. Ya Allah rahmatika ya arhamar rahim. Ya Rabbi tub alayna fa innaka anta at-tawwab ar-rahim. My brothers and sisters, let Ramadan be a continuation on what we have started with. Let us continue. Let us pave the road for a better connection with Allah. Let's establish more ibadat. Allahumma zidna ilayka qurban wa minka ta'atan wa laka mahabbatan ba'da Ramadan ya Rabb al-alamin. Ya Rabbi, make us from those إن الذين من خشية ربهم مشفقون والذين هم بآيات ربهم يؤمنون والذين هم بربهم لا يشركون والذين يؤتون ما أتوا وقلوبهم وجلة أنهم إلى ربهم راجعون أولئك يسارعون في الخيرات وهم لها صادقون ولا نكلف نفسا إلا وسعها ولدينا كتاب ينطق بالحق وهم. After this introduction in Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah Azza says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ هُمْ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ رَبِّهِمْ مُشْفِقُونَ. Those who are from the khashya of Allah. Khashya is love. Khashya is fear. Khashya is only to be for Allah Azza wa Jalla. It's different than khawf. Khawf is fear. Fear from physical fearness. But khashya is what you have to Allah Azza wa Jalla. You fear His punishment, but yet you hope for His rahmah. The khashya, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ هُمْ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ رَبِّهِمْ مُشْفِقُونَ. They are in so much khashya of their Lord. مِنْ خَشْيَةِ رَبِّهِمْ مُشْفِقُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ يُؤْمِنُونَ. Those who are firm in their belief, those who are strongly believing, those who are having no doubt about the ayat of Allah Azza wa Jal, whether the ayat of the written book, the Quran, or what is the ayat that is scattered in this universe. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِرَبِّهِمْ لَا يُشْرِكُونَ. And those who do not associate with Allah Azza wa Jal anyone. And we look into the sequence of the ayat. Allah addressed the mu'minun at the beginning of this chapter that is called the mu'minun. And then in the middle of the chapter it says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِرَبِّهِمْ لَا يُشْرِكُونَ, does not refer necessarily to shirk with someone with Allah and ibadah, but rather with the sincerity and ikhlas to Allah Azza wa Jalla. That's why, my brothers and sisters, ikhlas, sincerity, is very important. إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُخْلَصِينَ. As Allah Azza wa Jalla described Musa alayhi salam, وَالنَّبِيَّ. Allah Azza described him as مُخْلَصًا وَرَسُولًا نَبِيًّا. May Allah Azza wa Jalla make us from those who have the sincerity and the ikhlas in their ibadah to Allah Azza wa Jalla. Let there be secrets between you and Allah Azza wa Jalla. Let there be a secrets that no one knows about, that you will hope that Allah Azza wa Jalla will have rahmah on you when you meet Him in the hereafter. Let this be in Qiyam al-Layl. Let this be in a sadaqah you between you and Allah Azza wa Jalla no one knows about. Let it be by looking after a yatim that no one knows about. Let it be by looking after a miskin family that no one cares about. Let it be by doing a ibadah between you and Allah Azza wa Jalla that no one knows about. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِرَبِّهِمْ لَا يُشْرِكُونَ وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْتُونَ مَا آتَوْا. When Aisha radiallahu anha heard this ayah, said, Ya Rasulullah, Allah speaks about those who do good, but yet they do slip in ma'asi once in a while. They يشربون الخمر, and then they do this and they do that. أنهم إلى ربهم راجعون أولئك يسابقون في الخيرات. Those indeed who are having these qualities, خشية ربهم مشفقون والذين بآيات ربهم يؤمنون والذين بربهم لا يشركون والذين يؤتون ما أتوا وقلوبهم وجلة. 4 things. أولئك يسارعون في الخيرات وهم لها سابقون. They hasten and rush بالخيرات, within the khayrat. They do not need to make it to the khayrat, but they are competing with those who are around them in the khayrat towards Allah Azza wa Jalla. وهم لها سابقون, and they are from the achievers and from the pioneers. May Allah Azza wa Jalla make us from them. Allahumma ameen. وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله واستغفره. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ من شرور انفسنا وسيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. As we have tasted the sweetness of Iman and Ramadan, let's continue afterwards, after Ramadan, with the same ambition, with the same momentum, but rather increase the momentum towards Allah Azza wa Jalla. And as we have tasted the sweetness of integrity from the victory that was demonstrated by the people who stood up to protect the Masjid al-Aqsa, let's not forget that this is not the end of the journey. The whole Muslim Ummah across the world have changed their perception about their connection with Allah Azza wa Jalla. For the first time, we're able to taste the sweetness of victory. For the first time, we have lived the integrity, al-izzah, which is something the Muslim Ummah have missed for 100 years or so. Let's continue with the same momentum to support the Masjid al-Aqsa, despite of right now the continuous aggression from the Israeli government to make it difficult for the people who are living surrounding the Masjid al-Aqsa, and despite of the continuous building of the settlements around the Masjid al-Aqsa, and despite of the difficulties that the people of Gaza are living in. Let's continue to show their support. Let's not fear anyone, and let's be fearful of Allah only. These people have taught us, have given us a practical demonstration of how not to fear anyone, and how to fear Allah only, and how to count on none except Allah. And whoever counts on Allah, Allah will give him victory. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم إن عبيدك أبناء عبيدك أبناء الماء نواصينا يا رب، ماض فينا حكمك يا رب، عدل فينا قضاءك يا رب. نسألك اللهم بكل اسم ولك سميت بنفسك أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك بأن تجعل القرآن العظيم يا رب جلاء قلوبنا يا رب، اجعله جلاء لهمومنا وأحسن. اللهم زدنا إليك قربا ومحبة بعد رمضان، اللهم زدنا منك طاعة بعد رمضان. اللهم لا تحرمنا يا رب، اللهم لا تحرمنا وأكرمنا يا رب، استخدمنا ولا تستبدلنا، اللهم أكرمنا ولا تهنا يا رب. اللهم زدنا إليك قربا ومنك محبة يا رب. عبدناك في رمضان، اجعلنا نعبدك بعد رمضان يا رب. اللهم نسألك بأنك أنت الرحمن، بأنك أنت الرحيم، بأنك أنت الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر، بأن تقر أعيننا بنصر يا رب العالمين. اللهم نسألك الصلاة في المسجد الأقصى آمنين مطمئنين يا رب السماوات والأرض رب العرش العظيم. اللهم كن مع إخواننا في غزة يا رب، اللهم كن مع إخواننا في القدس يا رب، اللهم كن مع المسلمين في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها، في أفغانستان وفي باكستان وفي العراق وفي ليبيا وفي ميانمار وفي كل البلاد بقاع الأرض يا رب العالمين. يا رب نسألك العزة، نسألك العزة يا رب، عزة مستمدة من طاعتنا وقربنا إليك يا رب العالمين. اللهم هذا دعاؤنا يا رب، وأملنا ورجاؤنا بأن تحسن ختامنا، بأن تجعل خاتمة أعمالنا توبة لك يا رب، وشهادة على أشرف البقاع وفي أشرف الأيام وفي أشرف الساعات وعلى أشرف الهيئات، فإنك على كل شيء قدير. وصلى الله على سيدنا